Not gonna do Dota or Borderlands. No beat 'em up, shoot 'em up. We are gonna try to get a hacking CTF in. And I'll be honest, I am way out of the game. I had my OSCP, which is a kind of hacking certification for these types of CTFs. But I got it back in 2013, and now it's 2020, and I need badly to refresh my skills. So we are going to start at the very beginning of Hack the Box and go through some of the retired machines. So retired means that we could look up the solutions if we wanted. We're going to try not to. And but because the solutions are online, they don't count for points in the Hack the Box system. But it's good for us because then we can stream it and not worry about people thinking that I'm leaking the secrets as we're streaming the solutions to these puzzles. So let's get started. And hello, welcome to the stream, and feel free to chat in the stream as well. This blue thing on the right is going to be the in-game or the streaming chat. So you guys can let me know if I'm doing something wrong. We're looking at the list of machines here. I know this is the very first one. I know it's lame, but we're going to literally start with the one called lame. So this is the web interface for kind of like the meta interface to tell us like what machines to hack into. And so we're going to hack into 10.10.10.3. And I think we need to, let's make sure the machine time is extended. And we're going to add it to our to-do list. We don't have any flags yet. So that's the goal of this thing, is to get the flags. The flags are essentially going to be a text file on the machine. There is going to be two flags, and essentially it's going to be a user level and an administrator level. So the idea is that the administrator flag is going to be harder to get. The user level should be easier to get. So let's get started. All right, so we know that, so right now I just opened up a terminal, and this terminal window is basically a terminal to a Linux instance that I'm running in my closet, and it is a Kali Linux, so it comes with all of the hacking, quote-unquote hacking tools. And so the first thing we're going to do is kind of called reconnaissance. So we just need to figure out what this machine 10.10.10.03 is running, and and then we can figure out like what we want to do next with it. Let's make some directories here, and we're gonna this one's called lame, so we're just gonna call it lame, and we're gonna nmap it, and we're gonna do capital A for aggressive, and we're gonna do OA for output all, lame nmap, short scan, and then we give the IP address. And of course, Windows Terminal doesn't let me copy paste, so there we go. I have to click my mouse to paste. It was a little silly. Okay, so it looks like maybe we are not able to get to it. Maybe the VPN is down. So let's take a look at that. We are counting at 1. So the VPNs should be working. Can we ping it? Can't. All right. Let's try our nmap, but with -pn, so that might... so what that's doing is kind of, I mean, that seems weird that it responded to the ping, but nmap didn't detect it as up. Not sure why. It might be that my IP address space is conflicting with theirs, so maybe nmap is getting confused and trying to send an ARP ping instead of a ICMP ping. Not really sure. So now we just get to wait, and what's happening right now is that, so I gave it a -A for aggressive. Aggressive will mean it'll try to fingerprint the services that it does find, It may even do some light scripting, so it's not. The dash capital P lowercase n is telling it to scan regardless of whether it thinks it's up or not. The dash little o capital A is telling it to output the results to a file. The last bit is an IP address. So the IP address is going to be the like the network address of the machine we're trying to scan. Okay, and we just got the results. Now, if you're not familiar with the idea of a port scan, you may want to go research that a bit. The idea is that you are so basically TCP is a networking protocol, and the networking protocol has 65,535 ports that can be used to host services. And so we are going to the top 1,000 used of those 65,000 and seeing if there are is there anything listening. So let's see here. And as luck would have it, there are some things listening here. We have port 21, 22, 139, and 445. So let's get some notes going here. What is the best to take notes with? Let's say Notepad. All right. No to all. All right. So let's see. So let's just keep track of our open ports here, right? 21 FTP. We know it's VSFTP. That is likely going to be and it looks like we have anonymous connection, so that's nice. It may also be vulnerable to certain exploits. 9 NetBIOS Samba workgroup, and that is also on 445. All right. So this is basically what we have to work with. Most of the time, if you do like an Nmap scan, most of the time on these CTFs, you're going to have to start with accessing it over the network somehow. It might be a website. It might be, could be a service, like an FTP service. It could be something really weird that you can't detect. And you kind of have to have some knowledge of networking in order to understand what all these services are. So, for instance, like I know that, let's take a look at the notepad here. Oh, okay, cool. There we go. And let me blow this up for everybody. Control mouse wheel up. Let's do that. Okay. So port 21 is FTP, and FTP is file transfer protocol. So it's we know that port 21 is generally the old school FTP file transfer protocol, which means it's going to be in plain text, so it's not getting encrypted. Port 22 is SSH, that's secure shell. That is kind of a way to issue commands to a machine remotely. A lot of times with these CTFs, the port 22 will be open, but not really hackable, because it's a way for the administrators to manage the VMs. And then 139 and 445 is the old or normal Windows file sharing protocol. So it's kind of the normal way that Windows machines talk to each other over the network. But we know here that it says Samba, and Samba is kind of the Linux service for emulating that type of file transfer. So let us start with FTP. Our Nmap, because we gave it a -A, Nmap was nice enough to tell us that anonymous FTP login is allowed. So let's try logging into the FTP. So I'm going to create a new terminal here. We are going to FTP in. to the machine. Okay, and this is me having issues with my keyboard. I brought my work keyboard home and is not the best for doing this this type of thing here. All right. Open. Anonymous. No password. Login successful. What's on here? Nothing. Here comes the directory listing. Directory send OK. So that means we're in an empty directory. If we cd to / and ls, we're not getting anything. Okay. Something's weird is happening. I guess it may just be that we are kind of in like a sandbox. We can also just try connecting with our GUI here, and the way we can do that is that we set our SSH to have port forwarding. So we should be able to do this. Let's try this. So I'm going to type in the network address of my Kali box. And actually, no, we're going to type in the network address of the machine on port 21. We're going to give it an anonymous login. And we need to tell it to use my SSH connection as a proxy. I'm going to doing that. Let's give that a shot. Boom. Okay. So we know that we are in root and there is really nothing around. So we are likely, this is maybe likely a dead end, at least in terms of like actual files in the FTP that we're supposed to be messing with, right? So not letting us upload anything, nothing to download. We tried to get to the root directory, that didn't work. We tried, so that might be a dead end. But the so let's see if it is in fact an issue with the FTP server itself. So one thing I noticed in our nmap listing, and let's take a look here. Come on. Nope, not going to let me do that. Okay. So we saw that the service is VS-FTPD 2.3.4. And one of the things from other CTFs that I know is I think that VS-FTPD has a like backdoor built in. So let's check if that backdoor still exists. And we can go to exploitdb and search for it. And yeah, sure enough, 2.3.4, backdoor command execution in Metasploit. Nice. So we know that it appears that there is an exploit for Metasploit that's already been written, so it's likely already in there. So this just says that the module exploits a malicious backdoor that was added to the VS-FTPD download archive. Backdoor was introduced into 2.3.4 between June 30th and July 1st, 2011. That's actually moderately recent, isn't it? I thought this was like a 90s thing or something. Okay, so, and the way this works, let's see, does it tell us how this works? I forget. Maybe not. All right, so we could do some reading on this, but I think let's just skip forward to Metasploit. Now, the other thing is that, you know, with my OSCP, I really should know how Metasploit works. And to be honest, I haven't used it since OSCP. It's good for people doing offensive like network security. I have mainly my career I've been doing offensive web security, so I haven't really gotten a chance to mess with it actually in the field a whole lot. So let's take a look here and see if we can get in. SF console. Okay. All right. So we are. Let's see here. We wanna let's search for VSFTPD, and sure enough, we have it right there. So I think we can just say use this exploit, and then we need to like set the options. And I think we can, if we type in set, it'll show us what we can set. If I type in help, does it give me anything? List module stack, show modules. There's set, unset. So in our exploit commands, we have exploit. And run. So we want to. So right now I just want to look at the commands and what they mean. Show options. There we go. That's what we want. Set var host to 10.10.10. All right. .10.3. Boom. Now we also need to set our payload. I'm slightly confused why it doesn't have an option for the payload. I believe, let's see here. Let's just go Google a basic Metasploit tutorial here. Let's just check our commands here. I know I'm just missing all the basic commands here. It's been years. So this shows us how to use help. It shows us that we can use tab completion. Great. Using exploits. So we are in the use exploit. Okay, so now we need to show the payloads. And then we will likely need to then like set the specific payload, right? So show payloads. Okay. Command Unix interact. Manual Unix command interact with established connection. All right. Interesting. I'm surprised that there's no other commands available. So if we say use, I think I have to, now we need to go look to see like how we use payloads, right? Yeah, so this tells us that like we use and then the name of the payload. Oh, that's we. So this is how to generate the payload. I want to use the payload within an exploit. I don't. Exploit use payload with exploit. Working with exploits. Here we go, set payload. Now what's interesting is I don't think that showed up in our options, did it? Oops. Show options. There is no option for payload. I wonder if that means it's not flexible. Let's just try typing in exploit and see what happens. Did it work? Thinking about it. Exploit completed, but no session was created. Okay. So it may be that they are like purposely messing with us. They like, even though this is a exploitable version of ESP-F2BD, they might have like disabled it or something like that. Or it could be that I messed up with my Metasploit payload and it's just not firing. Let's try like, so if I do show payloads and I say use command Unix interact. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I want to say set payload command Unix interact. Now if I do show options, we have payload options. There are no payload options. What happens if we just type in exploit again? And let's get some music going. Let's take a look at this this vulnerability and see if maybe we're just missing something. Looks like someone wrote up a Metasploitable project for us, so that was nice of them. Let's see what we're missing here. I bet we might just be missing something stupid. So we did that. We did use exploit. We set the R host to our host 10.10.10.3. Yep. And we typed in exploit. Okay. So normally once we type exploit, it should have like backdoor service has been spawned, handling, found shell. Okay. So that all should have happened. It didn't, which means probably something might be wrong. So let's just keep trying other stuff here. Let's take a look. So remember our services, we had 21, 22, 139, and 445. So let's take a look at 139, 445. We know that's Samba. I think we know that the work group was just called work group. Let's check. So this so Nmap told us that the work group is work group, and that the security mode just says account used blank, authentication level user. Challenge response supported, message signing disabled. So let's try just accessing their SMB. I think if we just type in like, okay, SMB clan, is that right? Yeah. Service and then password. So we want the service would be $3. But we don't know the shares, do we? Empty status connection disconnected. So I think we need to do some more enumeration of the SMB service. Hello to the visitors or viewers. Feel free to chat. I should have the chat up in the stream. So if you guys think of something that I'm missing, feel free to let me know. Right now we have an SMB service that we are trying to enumerate. I think that we should check the Nmap scripts for Samba enumeration and see like what we can do here. And let's just do Nmap Samba. See what we got here. All right. So this will try to enumerate, attempts to list all the shares using the served SVC net share enum all MSRPC function. All right, let's try that. Having a little doubts that this will work, but who knows? It's a good, maybe it's a good start. Oh, we have to do PN, I think. So index SMB. So while we're waiting for that, let's keep looking at all these Samba stuff. So things that look like they might be able to help. Enum services, Enum shares that we're running right now. LS would probably be helpful. Security mode might be helpful. I think that's all we got. We would not be vulnerable to any of these because we're running Samba, not Microsoft Windows. SMB security mode might be helpful. All right, let's see what we got here. Hey, we got something. Holy cow. This looks good. Okay, so we ran enum shares on 10.10.3. And what did we get? It says just account used blank. Interesting. So with a blank account, we see that there is Wow. Okay, so admin $. There's IPC $. The fact that it has anonymous access is kind of interesting. There's opt, print, temp. Well, this probably maybe looks the most interesting. I'm actually wondering if this is something that somebody else put on there, just messing with us, but hey, let's do it. I think one of the things I have to keep remembering is to not overthink CTFs. A lot of times you will find something that just looks stupid, like no one would really ever do it. Like I see comment, oh no's, and I think, oh, I would bet $10 that that's just another hacker putting crap up to mess with me, right? And a lot of times those are the actual things, and it's just the creator of the puzzle messing with you, and it's actually the solution to go and do that. So let's try and go and do that. And we're going to use SMB client. So we're going to give it the share 10.10.10.3 /temp, and I'm escaping my slashes. So normally it would be // host address / share name. But if I just copy pasted this, then the bash shell would interpret the first slash as an escape character, and it wouldn't be good. So let's try this, and no luck. All right, so what are we missing here? I'm guessing we're missing like a username to get into the temp directory. It says anonymous access read write. So maybe we need to figure out how to use SMB client in like anonymous access mode. Let's try Googling that. SMB client anonymous accessing a Samba share without a password. This answer uses the single space username with a single space password. SMB -u guessed worked for me. -u% worked for me. So let's try just giving it a dash. Let's try that first option. -u guessed. Okay. No luck. I'm guessing we need to also supply the password. Oh, so the other thing is that we may be missing the fact that like this maybe ties into our FTP issue. So the FTP account allowed anonymous access, but the username was anonymous, right? So let's try anonymous. No. Let's take a look at the manual for SMB client here quick. I'm sure that there's a lot of stuff we're missing. So the -u is the username. We got that right. Is there a password? Can we supply a password here? I wonder how the Samba script is logging in, or the Nmap script is logging in. If the Nmap script can get it, that means we should be able to get it. So I just need to emulate whatever the Nmap script is doing. So let's see here. Oddly, I don't see an option for password. Oh, password. Service name, password. Okay, so let's try that. No. Darn. No luck. If we try this, I'm guessing it won't work either. Nope. What other stuff said that anonymous access was allowed? Not the IPC. So let's try enumerating the IPC, I guess. Was there an IPC enumeration here? SMB enum services. Let's try some of this. I'm really curious how the SMB shares. If we can find the source code, then we can know like how it determines anonymous access. So right now I am looking, we're trying to get anonymous access to the Samba server on a HackTheBox machine. We know that Nmap told us that there is anonymous access allowed for some of these services. We saw it for this temp directory, and we saw it for the IPC. So we tried accessing the /temp directory, but we got a lot of status connection disconnected. I wonder if we try this and then just password or something like that. Does that work? No. I'm trying to remember how like an FTP anonymous access works, because we know that FTP anonymous access worked. How do I log in anonymously with my FTP? Name anonymous. Send your complete email as a password. So I'm guessing if we enter in like anonymous@anonymous.com, that won't work either. Okay. Let's try some of these other Samba enumeration techniques just to see what will happen. All right. Error, script execution failed. Of course. Let's try enum services. Alright, this is taking a while. Hopefully it won't take too long. Alright, in the meantime, let's try to see if... Let's see other ways, like Linux... Connect to SomaShare Anonymous. This is the one we were looking at earlier. That didn't work. We could try this, I suppose. SMB client-u my user percent. Should we try that? Let's try it. Let's get out of here. Nope. Let's see. And we were looking at the source code here. I wonder if this can tell us if share anonymous can read. Interesting. How does it determine this? Don't know. Cool. Anonymous. If username is empty. So maybe that's what we need to do. After a list of shares is found, the script attempts to connect to each of them anonymously, which divides them into anonymous for shares that the null user can connect to, or restricted for shares that require a user account. Interesting. This just says anonymous, but there's also the word restricted, and then there's null. What happens if we try connecting as null? Nothing. How's our other script doing? Nope. There we go. Still waiting. 0% done. And if we type in restricted, this is on the get shared list. Current user is. And let's review our output here. There's also opt, but it says opt doesn't have any anonymous access. There's the printer, and then there's the IPC. Maybe there's a vulnerability against that version of Samba, but I'm guessing that's not it. I think we need to try and either enumerate the IPC or try connecting to this /temp share. We just need to figure out, I guess, how to connect to the temp share. I bet we're really close. We could try this. Oh, did it finish? It didn't give us anything. That's a bummer. Did I type that in wrong? No. Service be new services. Let's try this. All right, and while we're waiting for that, no, still no luck. Huh. This is filtered, which is odd. Did we disconnect our VPN? No? Can still ping it, right? Yeah. Let's try this. It's temp, right? Yeah. Just path slash. Why is it turn up? Oh, it's in stream mode. Okay. Let us try that. Ooh, a yield failed. Huh. I do not like that either. And when we tried enumerating the shares, okay, that was enumerating the shares. So I'm pretty sure like one of these has the answer here. How to connect. I mean, let's keep looking on Google maybe. See what shares are available on a given host. Run -l host. So let's try that. So SMB client. What was it? -l host. Status connection disconnected. And if I give it a user, it's not gonna give it to me either, I guess. Is that the issue? Do I need to give it a work group? So that's not working either. Could try some amount. Just see what happens. I don't think that would make sense though. I think we need to figure out like how to either use the null user or the restricted user. Oh, I wonder if the user is the whatever the FTP daemon maps anonymous to, which would be nobody, right? FTPD anonymous. Oh, set up yes FTPD for anonymous. Configuring anonymous table, yes. Doesn't say who anonymous is accessing as. So when we FTP'd into it, okay. So I gave it anonymous as the username and password@password.com as the email address. I'm guessing that maps to a Unix username that VSFTPD is relying on, right? And I would imagine that not like I imagine it's gonna map to like nobody. Yeah, so as you can tell, I am pretty out of practice with this. What is the anonymous user in VSFTPD? Well, if I goes for some Linux user in VSTP, the FTP anonymous are mapped to the Unix account specified in the FTP username config option, which is by default set to FTP as well. So I'm guessing if we try connecting like temp with FTP, it won't work. If we try nobody, it probably won't work either, right? If we try that, it doesn't work. If we try a single space, does it work? No. But this thing is somehow listing the so nmap is somehow listing the shares and able to tell us what the shares are. Huh. I think I might be stuck. I think the next thing is to try... Well, let's see. Okay. Samba, anonymous, access, SMB client. Using SMB client to enumerate shares. Yes, this is what we would like to do. Okay, so we tried that, right? This has it doing the slashes, so let's try the slashes. Weird, we need to do -L. Still nothing. So somehow the username that it's using, nmap is using, is working, right? So do we just need to figure out what the username is that they're using? This doesn't say, right? So I think they're using a library. They're using the underlying library. This says null for shares that the null user can connect to. Oh, please don't tell me it's the literal word null. I'm gonna shoot someone if it is. Okay, thank you. If I do like /00, that won't work either, right? Okay, good. And restricted was the other one. Okay. Let's try figuring this out with the nmap source, or how to use SMB client anonymous. How to use SMB client to connect anonymously to a server. Access. We did it without user, right? Yeah, that didn't work either. Oh. NMB lookup. It's not going to give us anything, is it? So this is the crappy part of hacking, which is brute forcing, bashing your head against the wall until you get into something, right? In this case, we're just trying to get the right syntax to access a Samba share anonymously. If anyone has any tips on that, please feel free to let me know in the chat. Otherwise, we're just going to try to figure it out using the internet. So this person uses probably -I for interface, right? And then -N, he doesn't say why he needs that. I entered none for the password, and it turned out that I could retrieve the list without a password. Use the capital N flag on the SMB client to suppress the password prompt. All right, let's try that. Oh, I'm an idiot. I didn't. Oh, well, this is -L, so this is supposed to be lists, right? Man, this is just rough. I mean, the other thing is we could do is this, right? We could try accessing our temp share, but none of that is working either. User equals gas dash n. All right, people keep saying to try this mount thing. All right, let's try it. SMB mount. Mount dash T. SMBFS. I'm gonna give it a host. And our share. We're going to give it the directory. SMB mount. And we're going to sudo that. CIFS. Okay, try that. Mount here. You change the username. Apparently it wraps. Interesting. So -O user equals guest. No password. No. Pass equals, I think we have to comment. It says no such file or directory. We're definitely missing something. Let's see if we can, like, enumerate Samba IPC. Ugh, this thing. I mean, so we know that I don't know what just happened. So we know that IPC is a valid open share. But I guess it didn't, like, give us anything. Browse Windows IPC. IPC share is also known as a null session connection. By using a session, it lets anonymous users perform certain activities. IPC share is created by the Windows servers. Alright. IPC share cannot be managed or restricted. Alright, everybody. I am a bit lost. I think we are really close. I am considering looking up the answer. I feel really bad because I don't want to do that. But I'm not finding a lot of answers around here. This says that anonymous access is read or write. Let's look up nmap SMB library. Okay, so what's it doing? To initially begin the connection, there's two options. Attempt to start a raw session over 445, which is open. Okay, we know that 445 is open. Attempt to start a NetBIOS connection over 139. We also know 139 is open. Once it's connected, SMBcon negotiate packet is sent, trusting the protocol NTLM 0.12. That's successful, blah blah blah, sent. It's essentially the login packet where the username, domain, and password are sent to the server for verification. The username and password are generally picked up from the program parameters, which are sent running a script or from registry. However, they can also be passed as parameters to the function, which will override any other username or password set. If the username and password are set, they are used for the first login attempt. If the login fails or they weren't set, a connection is the guest account with a blank password is attempted. I see guest in all caps, and I'm pretty sure we have been using guest in lowercase caps. That could be an issue. If that fails, then a null session is established, which should always work. Okay, so the null session would be to the IPC, right? Because that's what we read about, like the purpose of IPCs for null sessions. The username and password will give the highest access level, guest will give lower access, and null will give the lowest. The actual login protocol used by the SMB.com session setup and X is explained in detail in smbauth.lua. Thanks to Christopher for blah blah blah. Okay. So why is this being weird? Okay. So we know that the script, the enumeration script. Let's take a look at the enumeration script. SMB. What was it? Nmap SMB enum shares, which is what we did. Attempt to list the shares using the service srv sbc net share enum all msrpc function, and we'll try to retrieve more of the info about net get share get info. Okay, I suspect maybe we need to still brute force this username and password. And I'm wondering if guest with a blank password, if we've tried that yet. Let's try this. Temp -u guest. No. Status connection disconnected. What happens if we try this with guest and caps? Oh, look at that. I did it again. Guest and not all caps. No. Well, I'm sure we're missing something. If I try the -L. No. So that one of those Q&A sites we had open, right? No. Oh, this guy has the other slash. Please tell me I didn't script the slashes this whole time, or I will be quite pissed. I think I might have. No. Okay. Feel a little better. See, he has those slashes like that. Let's try this. No. Should I look up the answer? I feel like that's pretty lame. Okay, let's take a look at this. Mount, Syphis. Server share name, share folder, Dasho, username equals guest, comma, password equals quote quote. Slash home slash feet 2000 slash hack the box slash lames dash SMB mount. Nothing. it's blank password, do we have to, should we Wireshark the Nmap connection? I guess that's an option, right? The username and password are set. They are used for the first login attempt. If the login failed or they weren't sent, a connection as the guest account with a blank password is attempted. So pretty sure we tried this already. We could say username. Send the username equals guest. Nope. That's right, this thing didn't. I do, I thought I could do stars, but I'm worried that it would interpret it as star. SMB MB enum. I don't think I got this much. Account use guest. Authentication user level user. Challenge response supported. Message sign disabled. We're definitely on the right track. We've been trying to log in as guest this whole time. It hasn't been working. I mean, it's really only the Samba and the FTP. I'm guessing if I try logging in as guest on the FTP, it won't work. I don't know. I think we call it, let's take a look. HackTheBox lame walkthrough. I feel like a loser doing this. Yes, we found Samba. What? It was an exploit in the Samba version itself? You gotta be kidding. Really? We had that from the beginning, right? VI lame and map short scam dot map. You know the version 3.0.20. Samba. Let's take a look at exploit DB. .20. That's so lame. Oh, so stupid. It's the version of Samba that was vulnerable. You know, we mentioned that. I mentioned that an hour ago. I said it could be an exploit in the version of Samba, but I didn't think so because that would have been too difficult, I guess, for a noob, but is what I was thinking. But it looks like there's a Metasploit command for it, so maybe it's actually pretty easy. Ugh. Alright. Well, you know what? At least that means that we weren't... At least that means I didn't type something in wrong this whole time. So I feel a little better about it. Let's get our terminal back. Q. Quit. I want to quit Vim. Please help me quit Vim. Okay. Let's go into MSF console. So how should I do better next time? I think that I could have started by enumerating every single version of every piece of software that we see on the Nmap scan and doing an exploit DB search for it right off the bat. I did that for VSFTP, but I didn't do it for Samba. That was my mistake. So if I had done an exploit DB search for the version number, I would have found that. I already did it for VSFTPD, I just didn't do it for Samba. So that was stupid of me. Alright, so what's the exploit here? It is search Samba. user map script. Yeah, user map script. So should we read about this? This module exploits a command execution vulnerability in Samba versions 3.0.20 through 3.0.25 when using the non-default username map script configuration option. By specifying a username containing shell meta characters, attackers can execute arbitrary commands. No authentication is needed to exploit this vulnerability since this option is used to map usernames prior to authentication. Okay. What's the name of the exploit here? Exploit multi-user map script. Alright. Show payloads. Well, we got a fair amount of payloads at least. Let's do... I don't want to bind, I want reverse, right? Reverse netcat. Just do reverse netcat. Okay. Set payload, reverse netcat. That was stupid. Set payload, command Unix reverse netcat. Wow. Alright guys, I can type. I am just getting a bit tired here. So let's take a look at our netcat options. We're going to set it to port 4444. Sure. The listen address and interface. We need to make sure we set that right because we need to set it to the IP of our that's facing the VPN to HackTheBox. So if I look at my IP address, we want this. Set all host. Okay. Exploit. I can't believe it was that easy. That's so stupid. I didn't check the version Samba. Ugh. Okay. Well, if we have the shell, we do. Is it open? Okay, it's right here. So let's get the. Oh, I'm root. Okay. ls/root cat/root/root.text. Okay, let's copy this into the interface over. We closed it. Okay, on root. Paste the hash here. You know, I'm going to leave it as a 5 because let's be honest, I didn't get it. Alright. Now we can also own the user. ls/home ftp ls/ftp is home ftp. No. ls/home/Mavis. There we go. Cat. All right. You know, it almost feels unfair that I had to go figure out that it was, I mean, maybe I shouldn't be putting in the code here, but whatever. I'm gonna use this to track all the machines that we do. So that was the lame box on HackTheBox. And I think, you know, I'm gonna sign off, but I kind of want to just recap a little bit. I think we did learn some good lessons here. We learned that you really, on these easy boxes, it's very likely that there's an existing exploit that you just punch in and press go and it goes, right? And if that's the case, I shouldn't be spending so much time like bashing my head against things. I should take the bashing my head as a red flag, right? It should be easier if it's an easy. And so maybe what we need to do is just make a checklist, and on that checklist should definitely be, did I do an exploit DB check of every single service? So sorry about that. Yeah, so that was our our Hack the Box for today. I'm not super proud of it, but maybe next time we can do a lot better. All right, thanks everybody for watching. Feel free to chat if you guys are watching again and you have an idea or you have something I missed. Let me know in the chat and we can do this together. It doesn't have to be just me. So, all right, thanks everybody.